Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Students, I hope you all are doing good. Today, another class you have to take with a new topic. And before disclosing the topic, let me give you the same instructions. You should have your textbook or required stationery, pen or pencil, or a rough copy to write the important things, important notes. Uh, so it will help you to learn properly. Listen to the teacher first. Let me complete the lecture. At the end, you will ask question and I will inshallah try to satisfy you. Turn your videos off during the lecture. It will disturb me and others as well. So let's start the lecture. Let me tell you the topic first. The topic you can see on screen is it's a poem. Page number is 33. The daffodils. You can see a very beautiful picture below the heading. Yellow lovely flowers you can see. These are actually daffodils. Near water they commonly grow. Okay. So open page number 33. I hope you have opened page number 33. Now the introduction of the poet. This poem is written by the famous English poet William Wordsworth. The name of the poet is William Wordsworth, and he was an English poet. English means it means he was uh, the native of Britain or native of England. He was born in the beautiful Lake District of England in the year 1770. As I told you, he was the native of England. He was the resident of England, obviously, because he was born in the beautiful Lake District. Lake District is the name of the region where he was born, and the country name is England. Year was 1770. From his childhood days, he was very fond of flowers. Fond of means he was interested in. He was very fond of flowers, birds, lakes, rivers, rocks, and trees. And if you give one word to all these words, so which word you can give? Nature, or you can say natural objects, natural beauty. He used to spend much time enjoying their beauty. Obviously, nature has a lot of attraction in it. It has a great source of enjoying its beauty, or a great source of enjoyment actually, because it is it has a great beauty in it. He used to take long tours on foot and by walking and visit the beautiful natural scenes which he loved so much. Because he was fond of nature, so he would travel aimlessly just to enjoy natural scenes or just to enjoy the natural beauty. On foot means by walking. He started a new kind of poetry written in simple words. The words he would use, yeah, the style of his poetry was very simple. Every common man, I think, can easily understand his words and what he wants to convey in his poetic work about natural objects and simple country people. Commonly, which topic he would choose to write on? Natural objects. About natural objects he would write, and simple country people. Country people means people who live in rural environment, people who live in small towns or villages, or the countryside, who live in countryside. He died in 1850. Wordsworth is very famous poet. You must have heard his name before. And this poem, The Daffodils, is about, again, it's an admiration of nature. Daffodil is a kind of flower. Uh, you might have seen daffodil, maybe. You have seen daffodil somewhere. In this poem, actually, he is uh, somehow narrating one of his memory. Once William Wordsworth was walking with his sister Dorothy Wordsworth, and both the siblings saw or witnessed a huge or large number of daffodils near the lake, because they would live in countryside. the place where he was born or he lived for the rest of his life almost. The Lake District is a very beautiful place. It's full of natural beauty, trees, water, mountains, and so many, beautiful uh, natural scenes can be seen there. This Both the siblings saw this beautiful scene, and in the memory of that scene, he wrote this poem. But in this poem, he is saying that the narrator of the poem is alone. He is not with us. The narrator is not with any other person. But you can say that the narrator of the poem is William Wordsworth himself. And he is talking about his own journey, his own experience. So the narrator, you can consider him the narrator of the poem. Okay. The content of the poem. Now come to the content of the poem. I have told you much about William Wordsworth. I think that's enough for understanding the poem. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Wander means walk aimlessly. I think in any other chapter you have read this word, you have learned this word. I think, as I remember, I wandered and I was walking aimlessly, lonely without any companion, as a cloud. Like he is giving, an example of a cloud that as clouds or cloud moves. Without having a particular destination or particular direction, they just keep on moving according to the flow of air, according to the wind. So he said, I was also wandering, I was also walking aimlessly without any purpose, I was just going somewhere. Acha, as a cloud is also a simile. The word as a cloud is a comparison. And he is comparing himself with a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. Cloud that floats. Floats means to move on the surface. That moves on the surface, yeah, on high valleys and hills. Clouds move on high valleys and hills. He's describing how clouds move or float. When all at once means suddenly. When all at once I saw a crowd. The word crowd is commonly used for many people. A lot of people, a gathering of a lot of people is called crowd. But now this crowd is not about many people. He did not saw many people. What he saw, when at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. It means that he saw a large number of golden, means yellowish daffodils. You can see the picture beside the page. That is a beautiful picture of daffodil, and that is yellow in color. You can see. So golden here means yellowish in color. Where he saw the daffodils, now he's telling the particular location of the daffodils or situation of the daffodils. Beside the lake, beside means at one side of the lake, beneath the trees. You can say under the trees or at a low level of the trees. Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Fluttering and dancing. Dance, you know very well. Flutter also means move. And they were moving like dancing in the breeze, in the wind. Breeze means gentle wind, cool wind, soft wind feel that feels very soothing and very relaxing, very nice. So in the breeze, they were fluttering, they were moving happily, they were moving here and there. Obviously, the breeze moves the things, and daffodil as a flower is a very light, in weight. So they were moving here and there in the breeze. Now the next stanza. Continuous as the stars that shine. Now, as the stars is again a simile. It means he is comparing the daffodils with shining stars on the Milky Way. And twinkle on the Milky Way. Milky Way, a belt of stars in a galaxy. So he's saying that they were shining like stars, or they were in an abundant quantity like stars cannot be counted, so they could not be counted. It means that they were many. There were many daffodils he saw. They were twinkling, they were shining, they were gleaming. Twinkle and shine are same words, same meaning words. They were shining like stars. They stretched, it means they extended in never ending line. It seemed that daffodils or the scene of the daffodils or the daffodils had no end. He just could see daffodils up to the maximum extent of his sight along the margin of a bay. Margin means border, border of the water. Bay means the corner of the sea or river or lake. Along the margin of a bay. This was this was the place where he saw. And it means that they were stretched in a very long space. 10,000 saw I at a glance. He did not count the daffodils. Here, 10,000 means that I saw a lot of daffodils at a glance. Glance means a quick look, a brief look, or at a single look. And very quickly he is saying I saw 10,000. He saw 10,000 means he saw a lot of daffodils there tossing their heads. Heads means the upper part or the flower of the plant. Tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Sprightly means happily, lively, cheerfully, tossing up and down, going up and down. He saw daffodils were moving. That's why their head, or you can say their flowers, were going up and down in the breeze. They were like dancing actually. Their movement was like dancing. Now the next stanza. The waves beside them, because daffodils were near the lake, were next to the lake. The waves beside them danced. The movement of the waves were also like dancing. They were moving as water waves move. But they outdid. Outdid is the second form or past tense of outdo. They did better. They looked better. They seemed much more beautiful. Outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Sparkling again, shining, gleaming. Waves in glee. Glee again means in happiness or in liveliness. A poet could not but be gay. By experiencing such a scene, by watching such a scene, a poet who is very sensitive and attracted by nature more than ordinary people, a poet could not but be gay. And in nothing he could feel except happiness. Gay means being happy. He was feeling happiness, or he was feeling very, very happy by looking at the daffodils or by the scene of the daffodils because they were very lovely. So a poet could not be but could not but be gay. Without only happiness was in his mind. Happiness or the loveliness of the beautiful flowers had occupied his thoughts and his mind at that time. Nothing was in his mind except the lovely scene. In such a jocund company. Jocund, again, the meaning of jocund means lively, happy, carefree, without tensions. Okay, a poet could not but be gay. He could only be happy in such a jocund company because of the scene, because of the company. The daffodils were his companions at that time. He felt himself among them as a companion. I gazed and gazed. And he's saying, it means that he's saying, I looked at the daffodils deeply. I kept watching them. Gaze is the antonym of glance. The word glance in the second stanza, I think fifth line, you can see gaze and glance are opposite words. Glance means quick or brief look, gaze means deep look, long look, careful look. I gazed and gazed, I kept watching them, but little thought. But I was also thinking someone was in my eyes, the scene was in my eyes, and thoughts were in my mind. What he was thinking? What wealth the show to me had brought. The show means the scene. Okay, the scene of the beautiful or love and lovely flowers had given him a lot of wealth. Here, wealth means happiness, wealth of happiness, because happiness is is the real wealth. Okay, Narjis Hussain, I will explain. Okay, what wealth the show to me had brought. The scene had given him a lot of happiness that had become a great source of relaxation and happiness to the poet. Okay, next stanza. Let's move toward for oft. Oft is a literary form, or you can say in short, it is written often. In often, T is silent, but here T is not silent. For oft, when on my couch, couch means a seat or a sofa. When on my couch I lie and I am, on a resting position. The poet is saying, okay, then when he is on a resting position in vacant means empty. Here, empty means without having particular thoughts or particular plans in mind. In vacant or in pensive mood. Pensive means thoughtful. Sometimes, we have thoughtful mood. We want to think about something. We want to feel something. So, in vacant or in pensive mood, in empty or in thoughtful mood, they flash upon that inward eye. Inward eye means, imagination, or you can say in mind, inside the eye. As we say, dil ki aankhein, they flash upon that inward eye. They come into my mind. I can see them in my imagination, which is the bliss of solitude, which is the source of happiness. Bliss means happiness, great happiness, which is the bliss of solitude. Solitude means loneliness. It means he's saying that when I'm alone, when my mood is vacant or pensive, I am in a resting position. The scene of the daffodils I automatically remember. And that scene or that daffodils, that scene becomes my companion, or you can say that beautiful flowers become my companion in solitude, in loneliness. Solitude means loneliness. And then my heart with pleasure fills. And when I think about, and when I remember, when I recall the scene of the beautiful flowers, my heart, the scene fills my heart with pleasure, with happiness, with relaxation, with soothness, and dances with the daffodils. And I feel like dancing with the lovely flowers, as he said, the flowers were moving here and there like dancing in the breeze. So he said, I again feel myself among the flowers. I feel them, I can see them when they are not in my sight directly, but I can see them, I can feel them, I can enjoy them by recalling the beautiful scene or by remembering the beautiful scene. Second stanza, one girl said to explain again. So let me explain the second stanza again. In the first stanza, the poet told that he was going somewhere without any particular destination, having particular destination. So he saw daffodils. They were beside, they were at one side of the lake. They were under the trees. They were moving in the breeze. Then in the second stanza, the poet is comparing the daffodils. He is describing the scene in his own way. That is just his satisfaction. As I told you, Wordsworth is sharing or is narrating his personal experience or his memory. And as a poet, he is using metaphors and similes, to remember the scene in his own way, in his poetic way. Continuous as the stars that shine. And he's saying that the daffodils were like stars, as stars are in abundant means in many, in abundant quantity. They cannot be counted. No, stars cannot be counted. So daffodils were actually in abundant quantity. There were a lot of daffodils he saw at the side and twinkle on the Milky Way. And they were shining as the stars beautifully shine on the Milky Way or in the sky as the stars twinkle, especially at night, actually. So they were shining like stars at night. They were so beautiful. He is describing the beauty of the scene. They stretched they stretched in never ending line. Never ending means there is no corner, there is no end. It means he was saying in his sight only daffodils were there. Up to the maximum extent of his sight, he only could see daffodils. It again, it means the daffodils were a lot, and they were along the margin of the bay where he was. So they were in a never ending line, means they were in a very long line. 10,000s I saw at a glance. Again, he could not count the daffodils. He did not count the daffodils, obviously. 10,000 means many. At a glance, just in one look, I saw many daffodils. Only daffodils and daffodils. As in Urdu we say, dur dur tak I saw daffodils. Tossing their heads. Tossing means coming up and down. Rising and falling. Coming up and going down, tossing their heads. Their heads means the upper part of the plant, and the upper part of the plant is what? The yellow flower, the petals, the blooming flower. You can see on the picture as well. In sprightly dance, sprightly means happily. The movement was like, the movement of happiness. They were like dancing happily. Dance is a posture, or is an exercise you can say, that people do when they are happy. On different occasions people dance. Now why? Because they want to show their happiness. So in such a way he's saying they were moving like dancing. And this explanation is actually the feeling of the poet, how he saw this lovely scene, and he is describing with metaphors and similes. What similes you can find in the poem? As a cloud, first line of the first stanza, this is simile, means the comparison of loneliness with cloud, or the comparison of walking alone with cloud who moves with a cloud which moves without having any particular destination. Next simile, as the stars, continuous, as the stars. The word as is telling us that this is simile. It means that the poet is describing or comparing the daffodils with the stars. So you can say similes in the poem, because similes and metaphors make the poetic work more beautiful, or you can say more attractive, more descriptive as well. Okay, you can see these three stanzas are in past tense, because this is about a memory of the poet is sharing. So you can see past tense everywhere. I wandered, past tense you can see in first line. Then third line, where when all at once I saw a crowd, again it is a past tense. Okay, they stretched, second stanza, third line. They stretched in never ending line. You can see past tense here. 10,000 I at a glance, past tense. Then the waves beside them danced, but they outdid, past tense. You can see why poet is using past tense, because it is an old memory. Now he's talking about past, so the poet is using the past tense in these three stanzas. A poet could not but be gay. This is also past tense of, past form of can. I gazed and gazed. So you can see past tense in all three stanzas, first three stanzas, because he is describing a past memory. The poet Wordsworth is describing his memory that has become a past. But in the last stanza, you can see present tense. Now, why the poet is using the present tense? Because he is talking about his common routine, or something that he does again over again. It is common in his life. It's not It's not now something that has happened in past. So he's saying ki that's why the word often is here. When on my couch I lie, and it means it happens many times. Whenever he has vacant and pensive mood, and he is lying on his couch, he feel like being with the beautiful daffodils. So this is a common practice. This is about his present. So you can see present tense here. They flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. So in this stanza, you can see present tense because the poet now is not talking about the past memory. He is talking about a common routine, I should not say, something that happens regularly or that happens again over again in his life. That's why he is using the present tense here. Okay, you can see a lovely picture of daffodils near a lake. You can also see another picture uh, beside the last stanza. Very lovely picture you can see. A lot of flowers, yellow daffodils. Now, words meaning. As you know, words meaning are given on page number 34, 35, and okay, 34 and 35. Stanza wise words meaning are given. I'm just describing you once again. If you see words meaning first and then you try to learn, it helps you also to learn the poem in a better way. Wandered, as I told you, wander means walk here and there without person. When you have no particular destination, you are just walking around. Okay, vale, literary form of valley. And what is a valley? Space between hills or mountains. Host, there is another meaning of host. As you know, when you receive any guest, you are a host. But here, host means great number or group, a lot of daffodils, beautiful yellow flowers. In Urdu, if you ask me, daffodils are called nargis. Fluttering, moving in the breeze. In the breeze is actually given here in context. Otherwise, flutter means move. So fluttering means moving. Okay, this is about the first stanza now. The second stanza, you can see continuous, very simple word going on without a break. Milky Way, a bright belt of stars in the sky or in the galaxy. Bay, small part of a sea or lake, or you can say the corner side where we go to enjoy, the beauty of water. So that space is called the bay. At a glance, quick look, brief look, one, like you can say one look, tossing, rising and falling, coming up, going down, sprightly, lively, brisk, happily. Stanza number 3, outdid, past tense of outdo. Outdo means to do better than. Here, did better than is given because the word is in past tense. Sparkling, shining, gleaming. This is an adjective to show the beauty of something. Glee, happiness. Jocund, gay, lively, or you can say happy, carefree. Gazed, looked with wonder, and you can also say look deeply. What wealth? This is a phrase given in stanza number, written in stanza number 3. Here, what happiness? What wealth means happiness, wealth of happiness. The show means the scene of the beautiful flowers, the beautiful daffodils. Now the fourth stanza, often, literary form of, often. And often means many a time. Vacant, free hours, leisure time. And vacant means empty as well. Pensive, seriously thoughtful. When someone is thinking about something seriously. Flash, sudden bright light. But this word flash is a verb in the fourth stanza. To come quickly. Flash here, flash means, to come quickly in the memory. Inward eye, deep look, power to see the past experience in mind, in thoughts, in imaginations. Bliss of solitude, great joy of being alone. As solitude means loneliness, bliss means great joy or great happiness. So these are the words meaning I described you again. And now I'm giving you homework, home task. Textual question answers you will do first. Write down the central idea of the poem, uh, the daffodils, with reference to the poet. Write down here, actually, I wrote, write the central idea of the poem, the daffodils, with reference to the poet, and you will write down the central idea. And before central idea, you will write down the reference to the poet as well. About Wordsworth, you will write down some lines. Second, what was the poet doing? Where did he see? Where were the daffodils? You can see questions given stanza wise in your book. I selected few questions, and these three questions I'm giving you together. In your poem, they are separate, but I'm giving you together. You will it means that you will describe the scene of the daffodils. Okay, question number three. Question number three. With what does the poet compare the daffodils? As I told you, the poet was comparing the daffodils by using similes. So you will, first of all, you will answer directly, the thing which was being compared with the daffodils, and then the description how he described, the description of the scene. What resemblance does the poet find between the stars and the daffodils? What is same between the stars and the daffodils, how he resembled the two different things. Stars are totally different, and daffodils and stars are totally different, but he is showing a resemblance between them. So you have to write down about, and you have learned what did the poet feel looking at the daffodils, the feeling of the poet. And that is a very good question. I think you will feel good while writing the answer. You will enjoy writing the answer of question number 5. How can wealth come to the poet? By looking at the scene before him. Before him means in front of him. How can wealth come to the poet? As the poet said, what wealth the scene brought had brought to me. So you have to describe that point here. What kind of wealth he is talking about. Okay, then question number 7. Take a screenshot side by side. Don't forget to take a screenshot. So take a screenshot side by side. Then I'll proceed with some more questions. Okay, what happens to the poet when he lies on his couch? Or what brings relief to the poet when he lies thoughtfully on his couch? So these are two same questions. That's why I am giving you together. The answer will be the same. Okay, what happens? How the poet feels when he remembers about when he remembers the beautiful scene of the daffodils. Question number 8. Mention the two moods of the poet, or under what conditions was the poet of the poem The Daffodils recall the scene of the daffodils. The two moods are clearly given. So first question is a little simpler, but uh, these two questions are quite same. That's why I'm giving you again together. So you will answer the question in a way that should satisfy both the parts of the question. Or if you write down single answer, if you are given a single question or single part of question number 8, so the same answer you can write. You have to write in such a way. What kind of poetry did William Wordsworth compose? What is the theme of the poem The Daffodils? Okay, students, theme of the poem and the central idea of the poem can be same. So don't do it again. Just refer to the central idea if you want to refer. Okay, next. These are 7 textual blanks. Just quickly take screenshot of these 7 textual blanks. I'm not going to read it. Just take a screenshot. These are textual blanks. So you have to put particular textual word or phrase. Quickly take a screenshot. I'm not going to read it for you because you can easily read. Okay. Now, this is the end of the chapter. You can see a beautiful quotation by William Wordsworth. Come forth into the light of things. Let nature be your teacher. And you can see a beautiful picture behind this quotation, and beside these quotations you can see two pictures, and these are the two pictures of Ullswater Lake District, where actually this is the place. The two pictures beside the quotation you can see, and these are the pictures of the actual place where Wordsworth saw the daffodils indeed. Okay, this is all from my side. Students, I hope you will do your work carefully in your copy. Goodbye, Allah Hafiz.